Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Anyone know that song? Because I have had it in my head all morning, and I'm very excited about it because today's episode is all about happiness and how happiness sells. But as soon as I started thinking about recording the episode, I was like, I now have to go and listen to Pharrell Williams because he just makes my day. So if you are not already having that as your earworm and kind of clicking and clapping along, I don't know that we can be friends. I'm kidding, but seriously, get it on YouTube today or on Spotify and take a listen because it is one of my favorite songs for just putting me in a really, really good mood and ready to ace the day. So, like I say, today we are talking about happiness and how happiness sells, because one of the big things that I saw in 2019 was people trying to be polarizing through just ranting and being really negative about stuff. And to a degree that works, right? We can all talk about the myths that we can explore in our industry. We can all, have bad things that we think about our industry that we want to warn people about. We have experiences that aren't great. There are lots and lots of things that we can talk about that are negative. But actually, people don't want to be around negative people. Okay? Now, I say this because when I was working in corporate, we used to have this phrase, water cooler people. And what we meant by that was that you would always get the same people in jobs who they really hated their job, or they didn't like their manager, or they didn't like what they were doing, or they were just like Negative Nelly. And they would always be the person who would spend ages every day at the coffee machine, every day at the water cooler. And so any poor person who happened to really, really need a drink and have to go over there would then be collared into like a 10 or 15-minute conversation about, you will never guess what my boss did to me today, and how can you possibly still want to work for this company, and I'm going to leave, and I'm rewriting my CV, and I've applied for this job. And you would honestly sit there and in your head you'd be thinking, oh God, please just leave. Please just go away. Like, please leave the company. It's fine. Like, we don't need you. We don't want you here. And it was a really horrible way to feel about people. But that negativity started meaning that you ended up avoiding those people. You'd be like, no, I would rather buy my coffee from Starbucks and pay the £5 charge for what is effectively warm and relatively, bog standard coffee than bring my own Nescafe into the office and, bail it out with a spoon so that the spoon stands in it like gravy and actually makes me feel like I'm caffeinated. So anyway, you get water cooler people and nobody wants to be around them. And sure enough, they're the people who end up not getting the promotions. They're the people who end up not getting invited to the pub. They're the people who end up saying, I hate my job. And, everyone there is really awful. And you just avoid them because you know that every single time you see them, your heart kind of sinks a little. They're going to say something negative. You just don't know what it's going to be about yet. It doesn't inspire you to spend any more time with them, and it certainly doesn't inspire you to build a relationship with them. So why is your marketing any different? And this is the question that I want to pose to everybody, because I've been thinking about this, and over the last 4 years of being in business, I've seen lots of people get very ranty and very shouty or aggressive or negative about really daft things. And I am going to say daft things because surely, there are some things that just are not worth your energy. They're not worth your time. And yet people are spending ages writing these huge long posts about, how if you believe this, then you are a terrible human being. And if you don't improve yourself by this date, then you are the worst kind of person. And then they're trying to sell off of that. And I see people doing it. When I saw someone doing it a couple of weeks ago, and they spent like literally 2 weeks being like, Everyone who charges premium prices for a service should be ashamed of themselves. You are single-handedly putting the world into debt, and some people can't even pay their mortgages, and you're asking them to pay all this money for coaching or consulting or training or whatever. And then in the next breath, they were like, by the way, though, I've got this program. It's, you know, it's a super exclusive limited offer, and it's still gonna be $3,000. Oh, right. Oh, okay. I'm assuming that, you know, clearly you're not contributing to debt. Like, you're fine because it's only 3,000 instead of 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever. And it makes people look at you and go, oh, that's kind of incongruent. And oh, you're talking about this negative stuff all the time. Or better, the people who like slate everybody online. They're like, oh my God, I bought this book and I did not get $3 million worth of transformation from it. It was terrible. Don't read it ever. We don't want to hang around with those people because eventually they're going to come after you. And that's why we don't do it. As my mum would say, you know, if you point your finger, you have 3 pointing back. I genuinely did just have to count my fingers and check. Like, let's make sure that that's right. It's early in the morning. But it's true. You will always have 3 pointing back at you. And when people are very quick to point the finger at others, it also means that they are very quick to point the finger at anybody. Okay, just because they're going out there and being really negative and talking about stuff all the time, it doesn't mean that actually, you know, they're giving everything a fair shot, or that because you know them now and you like them, that they wouldn't take a pop at you in a couple of months' time. So you've got to be careful about this online. You've got to really start thinking about, well, how am I portraying myself? There's a real big difference between calling something out that is necessary, you know, so if you have been defrauded online, I would expect you to tell people. If you've had a really bad experience with somebody and, you know, you need advice, I would expect you to ask for advice. But if you've read a book and you found a couple of spelling mistakes, chill out, you know, because if you rant about every single little thing, it becomes ineffective. You know, people don't take it seriously. When you say, actually, no, there is a genuine industry problem here, people kind of go, oh God, she's back on a soapbox again. You know, what is it this time? And they tune out. Whereas when you are genuinely solidly building relationships consistently, and you're actually a positive person to be around, and we're not talking like perfect positive Penny who never has anything bad happen to her and on social media is like the blooming Pollyanna of Facebook, everything's great, nothing is a problem, all that kind of jazz. But when you're a normal human being and the majority of the time you know, you're looking for the good things, you're looking for opportunities, you're looking to be excited and inspired and empowered, then actually people do want to be around you because you are infectious. If you're somebody that laughs a lot, you'll know this. When you start laughing, if you, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I have this really weird thing. When I start laughing and I can't stop and I find something really funny, I laugh so much that no noise comes out. And I literally, my eyes just tear up and I just start crying. And I'm like internally laughing and I just can't stop. And my cheeks hurt and I get this weird like pins and needles feeling in my face. But when it happens, it doesn't happen, you know, that often. I don't find everything like hysterically funny, but when it does happen, everybody around me starts laughing, even if they don't find the original thing funny, because it's infectious. Mood is something that is infectious. When we spend time with people who are super negative, we end up being negative. We end up feeling crap. When we spend time with people who are generally happy-go-lucky, looking for opportunities, looking for the good things, we end up becoming like that. And so you've really got to think this year about, what do your customers want to become? Do they want to become somebody who inspires and empowers other people? Do they want to become somebody who other people want to spend time with and want to hang around with and want to talk to because they're interesting and they're, you know, they're easy to communicate with and they are a good person? Or do they want to be boring Billy on Facebook, banging on about every single little thing that has ever happened to them just so that they can get some engagement? You know, and really look at that. Who does your customer want to be and who do you want to be? Because believe it or not, happiness sells way more, than any negative comments will do. All right, my loves, have a wonderful week. Think about happiness, sing a little song, and if you are on Instagram, make sure that you hit me up with a little post on the happy and what you're doing, like dance-wise to it, because I'm feeling like some kind of awkward Macarena once I finish this episode. I will see you on Friday. Have a wonderful week, and let me know if you need anything.